We think about these depends on our worldview. Now, VCY America presents Worldview Radio with Brannon Howse.
Welcome. Glad you're with us. We're going to be joined by Dr. Andy Woods here in a moment. We're going to go over some Middle East Bible prophecy articles, and we're going to open the phone lines up for you today to respond to all that is happening in the news. Well, isn't it interesting, my friends, how the Lord leads our paths? We have talked for so many years about the providential providence of God, and you don't know you're in it oftentimes until you look back and you're like, wow, I could have never orchestrated all that in my human ability or lack thereof. Clearly, this was being orchestrated. And isn't that the way you feel when it comes to how God has blessed us with Dr. John Whitcomb and his teaching for so many years on our broadcast here, or Dr. Jimmy DeYoung, and now Andy Woods, and we had Dr. Tommy Ice, and we've had so many, Olivier Melnick, and so many people talking to us about the proper worldview and eschatology. And now here we are, we're ready to give a reason for our hope and why we teach what we do. And I think it's a great time for us as Christians to be alive. I know there's a lot of negative going on in the world, and indeed there is, but it is a great time for the church, because the church right now can be shining wonderfully on this issue. And I hope and pray that we are going to be the kind of people that Albert Einstein saw in Germany, a group that he really, quite frankly, despised, had no use for, Christians, the church. And then he saw they were the only ones standing squarely across the path of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis and taking them on and refuting them. And he said, that group which I once despised, I now unreservedly praise. And, you know, there are many people in the world watching today and listening today, many of them Jews, who are still in unbelief. But guess what names they know? They know the names Dr. Andy Woods. Many of them now know the name Brannon Howse and the name Olivier Melnick and the name Arnold Fruchtenbaum, and the list goes on, because we're speaking up and we're speaking out. And maybe they never heard of us before. Maybe they did, and they thought, I don't really like that guy. He's just too conservative for my taste. He's a real Bible thumper, isn't he? And now all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute. This is the guy that's speaking up for us? This is a great opportunity. And I want to encourage you today. I know there's a lot of negative things going on, but at the same time, I want to encourage you today to understand that the study, being a student for so long that so many of you have been, it is paid off, and it is going to be paying off in big dividends, I believe, even now. That's how I believe. Now, before we go to Dr. Andy Woods, I played this on my broadcast last night. Here is Tucker Carlson being questioned yesterday by Megyn Kelly. Listen, talking about Nick Fuentes. Why do you keep interviewing this guy? I want to make sure our audience for radio at 1 o'clock Central hears this. Here's his response. You would thought he would have a very nice intellectual response. No, here we go.
I mean, I personally have watched videos of him questioning the Holocaust, likening it to baking cookies in the oven, and there's no way you could have gotten to 6 million, seems to be his theory. He seems to think that we've way overstated the number of Jews killed in the Holocaust. He's ripped on poor Usha Vance in the most offensive terms, which I mean, so what do you say to those people who say, why didn't you raise any of that?
You know, do your own interview the way that you want to do it. You're not my editor. Buzz off. I mean, I don't know. You want to go yell at Nick Fuentes? I'll give you his cell. Call him and go sit and yell at him and feel virtuous or whatever.
Wow. Buzz off. That's an intellectual response. How do you take to him downplaying the murder of Jews and talking about eradicating the Jews and the horrible things he said about minorities and women? Buzz off. Well, that's a real giant of a man there, isn't it? Joining me now, speaking of you know what? This is what we call segue in radio and television. Speaking of a giant of a man, Dr. Andy Woods joins us now. Dr. Woods, welcome to the broadcast. For those who don't know, how tall are you, Dr. Woods, so that segue makes sense?
I am 6'6.5". And in fact, I have a Ask Andy AI feature on our website, and I get to see the questions. Someone typed in there, is Pastor Andy one of the Nephilim?
Well, there you go. And by the way, I think his
fortunately,
I don't think your microphone is on. I think we're picking up. You got the wrong mic. Your setting on your mic. We're picking up your mic from your computer, not your wonderful mic that gives you that great voice of a 6.5 individual. So maybe your tech official, your tech official can fix that in there, I'm sure. Let's see what else. Oh, by the way, I'm going to do this tonight on television. Elon Musk said Optimus will eliminate poverty. Tesla's $20,000 humanoid robot isn't coming. It's here. Production lines running right now. And Elon just said the quiet part so loud it should have stopped the world. Quote, Optimus, that's the name of his robots, guys, will actually eliminate poverty. Wrong-o. Jesus said the poor will always be with you. But he says it will eliminate poverty. Optimus, how will it eliminate poverty when the robot costs $20,000? How many poor people can afford a $20,000 robot to go do work for them, to make money for them, if that's how we're going to eliminate poverty? This is not going to eliminate poverty. I'm sorry. I mean, he has actually said we might have to go to universal basic income. That still will not eliminate poverty. We give people, they're going to be leased. You'll lease them. That's what you're guessing. They'll be leased. All right. Well, it won't. Universal basic income won't eliminate poverty. We have something called the welfare state, where people get a check in the mail from the government. They get food stamps, health care, all kinds of stuff. And guess what? They're still poor because poor people don't know how to manage money. That's generally why they're poor. So you can give them universal basic income and you'll still have poverty because they'll find ways to make sure they spend that money in an irresponsible manner. But he says we're going to eliminate poverty. Optimus will actually give people incredible medical care. Optimus will ultimately be better than the best human surgeon with a level of precision that isn't possible, that is beyond human, end quote. And then he said, quote, Optimus is kind of like an infinite money glitch. Maybe there won't even be money in the future, but might be measured in terms of wattage, end quote. Well, there'll be some kind of money. What is money anyway? It's a medium of exchange, something that holds value. It's a storehouse for the value of what has generally been work. Now, isn't this interesting? I don't want to get into a big, long diatribe now that Dr. Woods' guy's mic fixed. But the free market system is historically, and starting with the Garden of Eden, before the fall, man was told to do what? To work the garden, to tend to the garden. Work is not a curse. Work was in the garden before the fall. Now the conditions changed outside the garden, and then we had thorns and weeds and all kinds of stuff, right? And the sweat of your brow. But in the garden, work was not a curse. And so work is part of God's plan for us. And guess what we're going to be doing in the eternal New Jerusalem? Working. I hope you enjoy the work. I hope you enjoy working. I love working. There are days I get tired. It's like D.L. Moody said, I grow weary in the work, but not of the work, right? How are you going to have a free market system if work is being punished, work and workers are being eliminated, and you have a system that he's saying is no longer about money, but it'll be measured in terms of wattage, electricity, and yet your money, your medium of exchange, is generally a storehouse of value that comes from your work, right? So what will there be? I don't know, but there will be some kind of medium of exchange because the Bible says that you will not be able to buy or sell unless you have the mark. But isn't this interesting? He goes on to state that this is going to be $20,000. And apparently, as this gentleman's writing, it'll replace a $50,000 worker. Payback is in 10 months. That's actually not a right figure because I don't think they're including in there the cost of healthcare and insurance and other things. Tesla's scaling to 1 million units in Fremont, 10 million in Texas. That's 100 million robots by 2030, faster than iPhone adoption, except those don't make calls. They take your livelihoods. And of course, I think all of this is playing right into Bible prophecy big time. Dr. Woods, all right, welcome back. We got the mic fixed. What do you make of what I just read, by the way?
Well, to me, they're trying to erase a divine institution. I mean, Paul is very clear. 2 Thessalonians 3, verse 10, if a man does not work, neither shall he eat. Genesis 3, I think it's about verse 19, says, now post-fall, man would have to work by the sweat of his brow. And you're right.
You have a pet bird that we don't know about?
No, something's going on downstairs. I think we're okay. Genesis 2:15 talks about how man was working in the garden before the fall. So, if you want to design a world without work in it, you're designing a world that God never intended. And I like what you said. People will continue to work as they did pre-fall, even into the eternal state. So I don't know, all this stuff about people aren't going to work and there's going to be robots everywhere. I mean, I don't know if that's a world I really want to live in.
So true. Everyone's, not everyone, but there are some people that are worried about AI replacing them. I'm not worried about that. I'm irreplaceable, right? Right? You and I are, in most of this audience, we're irreplaceable. How do you replace a good Bible teacher, biblical worldview, Christians that become approved workmen, needed not being ashamed, rightfully dividing the word of truth? I'm sorry, AI is not going to replace that. I'm sorry, they're not.
Well, I think they'll have a difficult time with it. I guess you could use some kind of AI device to gather up my old sermons and re-preach them, but then people would miss all my jokes and all that kind of stuff. Part of who I am, my personality, illustrations. How do you? A lot of my sermons come from things that happened to me during the week, and I figure, if I'm struggling with something, people out there are struggling with the same thing. So I kind of work in sometimes my own struggles with things, and I'm just not sure how an AI device, can replace that.
Yeah. Let's go to this one. 3-state solution. Steve Bannon calls for a part of Jerusalem to be carved into a Christian state. I think we might have touched on this earlier in the week. I'll have you respond to it very quickly. What a dangerous concept and idea. We're also going to talk about George Soros. His linked charities reportedly funneled $40 million to support Mamdani's campaign. What else do we have? Let's see. I got something else. The real brain virus isn't Christian Zionism. It's anti-Semitism. We'll get to some of these and let you respond, by the way, to that very deep theological and logical response by Tucker Carlson, which was simply buzz off. Wow, he is a giant of a man, isn't he? We'll be right back. Go to worldviewtalk.com. Get your satellite phone like I have, because you know what? China is in on our power grid. That is a matter of proven fact. If you want to have communications with your loved ones, your family, your children, maybe your spouse travels, maybe you have a child away at college, you want communication should the grid go down. That's why you need a satellite phone, worldviewtalk.com. But look what else they have. They also have solar generators. I have one of their solar generators. I have the Delta Echo 400, a solar generator. So I can, of course, charge my satellite phone. I can run my coffee pot. I can run my whole house if I want to. All the details are there at worldviewtalk.com, or use that number, 1-866-738-3224. They have very friendly operators that will explain to you their products, but you can explain to them what it is you're desiring to acquire. How much electricity are you wanting to generate with this solar generator? Well, they'll tell you what size you need. Worldviewtalk.com or 1-866-738-3224. All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Radio, our website, worldviewradio.com. My new book on Hamas has come out. It's, again, available at worldviewstore.com if you'd like to download it as a PDF. We're not going to print any copies of it. You can download it as a PDF at worldviewstore.com if you're interested. Otherwise, it's automatically a part of your membership in our vault. What is now approaching 36 years of radio shows, TV shows, ebooks, audiobooks, documentaries. My first book going back to 1990, my first seminars on the New Age movement, education, and forward. All there, plus all of the great radio shows, about 100 of them, I think, maybe not quite 100, but a lot of radio shows that I did with Dr. John Whitcomb, all my years of radio shows with Dr. Jimmy D. Young, all of our Worldview weekends, 22 years worth of Worldview weekends, all there in the vault, and much, much more. Very, very inexpensive way to get access to incredible Bible teaching and worldview and Bible prophecy tools and resources, including all my books, including the latest one on Hamas inside America. It's called October 7th Comes to America, inside Hamas's U.S. network. You'll find it again in our vault under library and then ebooks at worldviewtube.com/vault. Dr. Andy Woods of andywoodsministries.org joins me. 3-state solution, says Steve Bannon, and it's going to be a, quote, Christian state, end quote. Now, the question is, what does he mean by a Christian state? Is that a Jesuit Christian state, quote, Christian? Is that a Paula White New Apostolic Reformation Christian state? That would be small c. Is that a Reconstructionist Gary DeMar Christian state? I mean, really? I mean, I think if you put that group of people together to run anything, it would be just as bad as Hamas, probably. Because in many ways, they are the Christian Taliban, some of these people, in that the way they talk about, we're going to take women out and stone them, and we're going to do this. I'm like, how is that any different than the Taliban? And you're doing this all in the name of Christ? Or what's wrong with you?
Well, I would say this. How many ridiculous statements can I respond to in such a short period of time? And these, keep in mind, Brannon, all this stuff is coming from MAGA people, MAGA leadership. Can I start with this Tucker Carlson thing?
Yeah.
This buzz off thing. Tucker, here's why we're not going to buzz off. You have crossed the Rubicon with what you've done. You have crossed the threshold of decency because you took a fringe character, a kook, a nut, someone who, if he's not a Holocaust denier, I mean, he's certainly a Holocaust marginalizer. I mean, here's someone that has said Hitler is a cool guy. Here's someone that likes Stalin. This guy should be ostracized to the fringes of society, and any normal person or society would do that. And what you just did, Tucker, is you brought this guy into the mainstream. You put him in front of millions and millions of people, and you gave authenticity to his words. And you sat there like a potted plant in the midst of something that's supposed to be an interview, and you gave him no pushback whatsoever. What you ran is what we used to call in basketball matador defense, which is no defense at all. And this is a puff piece that you've done under the guise of journalism. And you haven't just done it with him. You did it with Mumford Isaac. You did it with John Rich. You did it with the nun with the mustache. Gee, I'm starting to see a pattern here. And now you took a Nazi sympathizer and you did the same thing with it. And what you're doing, Tucker, is you're platforming these people. And, there was a guy named Adolf Hitler that wrote some really fringe stuff. One of them was named Mein Kampf. When was that published? Late 1920s, early 1930s, something like that. And everybody wrote it off. But what happened is this guy named Adolf Hitler started to get access more and more to the mainstream of society. And boy, by the time he was finished doing everything that he wanted to do, people wish they had paid more attention to the fringe statements that he wrote in Mein Kampf. Nazi Germany could have been subverted. World War II arguably could have been avoided. And it's because of this mainstreaming of fringe thought that you have Nazi Germany. So Tucker, that's my best explanation for you as why we're not going to buzz off. We're going to keep talking about it. We're going to keep exposing it. And you can sit there with your silly, ridiculous laugh and laugh it off all you want. And you can sit in front of Megyn Kelly and tell us all to buzz off, but we're not going to buzz off because you've crossed the Rubicon, and this is very serious stuff that you're doing. I, for one, am sick of it. I'm tired of it. I've had enough of it. I'm hot under my collar about it, and I hope the rest of decent American society, what Richard Nixon called that great silent majority, will join us in raising our collective voice against this.
Amen. Woo! Can we get some sound effects in here where I can push a button and everybody cheers and roars? And, wow, standing ovation if we were in front of a live audience. All right, now let's go to that great theologian, Steve Bannon. Let me just serve up these softballs for you today. He wants a Christian state. He doesn't want... did you just do the applause? I didn't hear it. He apparently, when I ask for something, they get it. They got me applause. He doesn't want a two-state solution. He wants a three-state solution, a Christian state. Okay, can I just say something here about this in regards to just everyone, Bannon included, talks about where we have to be America first, America first, America first, America first. And I agree that doesn't mean we have to be subservient to Israel and give them all our money and send our boys to die in the Middle East. Although I do see that apparently we're going to be sending U.S. troops to Damascus. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet. But if everything is about America first, how then do you have a Christian third state in Israel? Wouldn't that be the opposite of America first if you're now going to go take part in building a Christian state in Israel? Isn't that a little hypocritical to the whole America first agenda, Dr. Woods?
Well, not only that, but Steve Bannon, and I agree with him on, his battle with the deep state, but you watch his program and it's almost like you're looking at a Roman Catholic church service. I mean, he's got all of this Roman Catholic paraphernalia behind him. It reminds me of my old days as an Episcopalian, which is kind of Roman Catholic light when I was an altar boy, or an acolyte, as they called it in the Episcopalian church. And I know for a fact that Steve Bannon, with his Roman Catholic ties, has never given any thought whatsoever to Hebrew Bible or what we call the Old Testament. And I know he probably has never even read Joel chapter 3, verse 2. But I wish someone would get that guy a Bible, and he probably won't know where to find the prophet Joel. So open it up for him, turn it to chapter 3, and let him read verse 2, where God clearly says the reason he will bring his judgment upon the nations of the earth in the end times is because they have divided my land. That's not even Israel's land over there. It's God's land. Now, he bequeathed it to the nation of Israel via the Abrahamic covenant, but God looks at it as my land. I think it's in Leviticus 25, verse 23, I want to say, where God says the land is mine. And God takes it as a personal affront when the pagan nations, the Gentile nations, divided up. And Steve Bannon is not happy with a two-state solution, which is bad enough. He wants a three-state solution. And he wants to chop up the land of Israel, God's land, as if it's a piece of, pepperoni pizza. And he wants to divvy it up. And he has no idea the forces and the power of God that he is tampering with in the process. And yet these kinds of things just roll right off his tongue. I know countless people that watch his show religiously, no pun intended. Every time he comes on, they're paying attention to every single word he says. And here this man is he's leading America that he's trying to save to destruction. I mean, if the administration starts listening to what Steve Bannon wants to do, that's not going to end our decline. It's going to accelerate it. And for some reason, he's got these replacement theology eyeglasses on that's preventing him from seeing the obvious. And so this whole statement that he made is just outrageous. And I don't know why more evangelical Christians don't turn him off. Stop subscribing to his platforms. Stop following him. And the more we follow him and click like and do the thumbs up and make favorable comments, the more we're acting as enablers for an irresponsible man with an irresponsible mentality. I don't really care if I agree with him on a bunch of other stuff. If he can't get Israel right, he can't get anything right, because that's the major topic in the Bible, the nation of Israel, and that's what he's tampering with here.
Wow. Logan, does anyone notice a different Andy Wood showed up today? Now, some would say you got up on the wrong side of the bed, but I would say no, that whatever they put in your coffee this morning, can you send that to me as well? You're on fire today. What do I got to do to get this every Friday?
I don't think you need any coffee, Brandon. I think you're in pretty good shape on your own. I'm the one that needs it.
I drink my coffee. I absolutely have coffee and water.
There you go.
I have both. But really, what's got you so fired up this week? I love it.
Well, I guess what bugs me is one attack after another against the nation of Israel from people that I thought were our friends. I mean, I was naive enough to think, Brannon, that Marjorie Taylor Greene, was on our side.
And I've interviewed her several times.
And we agree with her on a lot of things. But what is wrong with these people in terms of their total focus on Israel? We're going to have to come up with a new term. We have Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. I think we need to work into the mix IDS, Israel derangement syndrome. I mean, why is it that Tucker Carlson in this interview with Nick Fuentes, I think the name Jews and Israel came up, I saw as many as 51 times, somebody noted, and how the conversation kind of wanders around, but it always goes back to Israel as the progenitor of all the world's problems. I mean, how many Jews are there on planet Earth? What, about 14 million somewhere in there? Are you mean to tell me that 14 million are causing all the world's problems when there's around 2 billion with a B Muslims on planet Earth? I mean, the Muslims are taking over, as we just saw this week, New York City. So why don't we give the Muslims a little bit of attention and focus for the world's problems? But every interview that Tucker does, it's somehow Israel, 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 Jews, 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 Jews. Mossad, 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 Mossad. You have Candace Owens, who I call Propagandist Owens. I might even call her name Ovens, Candace Ovens, instead of Candace Owens. I mean, she was running around initially and blaming the Mossad for the death of Charlie Kirk.
And she's now saying there are 12 cell phones that were at the event from Israel. I think they have international students there, Candace. I think cell phones, a lot of them are made in Israel, by the way. More to come, including what has Michelle Bachmann saying. We have a big announcement, folks. It's called Bella Melt. In the first week, you lost 3 pounds on this, right?
That is correct.
Your GLP-1 is a natural hormone that's in every single one of our bodies. And your GLP-1 lets you know if you're full. It's a satiety hormone. So when your GLP is working properly, it does help suppress your appetite as well as reduce those cravings. So what it's going to do best is it's going to reduce your sugar cravings or any other cravings you have in your body. It's going to suppress that appetite. But where Melissa got the most benefit, I think, over the last week was the L-carnitine. The L-carnitine tells your mitochondria, this is where we talked about it before, this is where you produce energy in your cells. It actually tells those mitochondria to burn fat for fuel.
Melissa Howse, BG.com, just now introducing for the first time Bella Melt with GLP-1 fast action. All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Be sure to stay tuned for Crosstalk coming up at the top of the hour on the VCY America Radio Network at vcy.org. V as in Victor, vcy.org with Jim Schneider, America's original Christian talk program since the 1970s. Michelle Bachmann gets it, writes the Jewish News Service. Trump's Gaza plan ignores jihadist reality. As the former U.S. Congressman rightly points out, the entire plan is doomed to fail if it lets jihad-aligned regimes, especially Qatar, walk away without consequences. And again, I noticed this plan involves the United Nations. I mean, again, why don't you just call it the guaranteed to fail plan, as she's saying? Because anytime you involve the United Nations with something with America or Israel, you know they're going to mess it up on purpose. You know, I'm starting to think that President Trump isn't as smart as everybody thinks he is, okay? He's not playing 5D chess, okay? You know, that's what the QAnon people wanted to tell us. He came out today in his cabinet meeting telling us how everything is coming up roses. The American people should be super happy about the economy, that your cost of your turkey dinner is down compared to last year. And he even in a tweet or social media post cites Walmart. I think if you go look at the contents, there's less contents than in their 2024 meal. So it's kind of like they raise the price but give you less chips in the bag. That game. I don't think you're comparing apples to oranges if you're using the Walmart. Here's everything in one bag to prepare Christmas, the turkey, the stuffing, everything. It serves less people, according to a report I read today. But even if the price of a few things are down, everything else is up. My homeowner's insurance is up. My car insurance is up. Almost everything else I'm paying for is up. My utility bill is up. But he actually wanted to tell us how our energy costs are down. You know, the problem right now with President Trump is he needs to quit talking. He needs to quit selling, okay? And I'm starting to believe, as I told you guys before he got elected, my big concern is they're bringing in a salesman to pitch the reset to us, okay? And I think that's what he's doing. He's pitching the reset to us. Now, I think he's surrounded by bad advisors, but he's choosing to listen to these bad advisors. And he needs to show empathy with the American people. But I don't think he gets it. I don't think he gets it. He needs to show empathy, some sympathy. That's another word. If this continues, the Congress will be given over to the Democrats in 2026. His party will lose in 2028. Dr. Woods?
Well, I mean, if everybody is so happy with him, we just had an election this week. I mean, why did his side lose every governor's race and everything else, mayor's race? Back to the Tucker Carlson thing just for a minute. The article I sent you says during the more than 2-hour conversation, the word Jew, Jews, Jewish were used 42 times, while the word Israel appeared 51 times. And this author says, Chris Katulka, the author, though the discussion wandered across a variety of topics, it repeatedly circled back to the Jewish people and the state of Israel. So that's where I stand on the whole Tucker Carlson issue. He has a bad case of IDS, Israel derangement syndrome. And then concerning the Michelle Bachmann piece, the reason I sent that your direction is because she says there what I've felt for a long time that I haven't really heard anyone in public life articulate. And she says this, it's very simple. This is not a Manhattan real estate deal. I mean, Trump is very good at those kinds of deals, but we're not dealing with that in the Middle East. We're dealing with people that are connected with something called taqiyya, which allows you to lie to advance the cause of Allah. And they don't even have a word for, it's not even in their vocabulary. Hamas, I'm talking about, a word for peace relative to the nation of Israel. The only word they have is truce. And so they just look at this as an opportunity to regroup and do something worse to them down the road that even happened to them on October the 7th. And putting your signature on a piece of paper doesn't change any of that. I mean, these people are trained from infancy, just as Lois and Eunice raised up young Timothy with the knowledge of the scriptures from infancy. 2 Timothy 3 verse 15 teaches us. With these people, it's the inverse. They're raised with a violent jihadist mindset from infancy. They don't know anything about peace brokers or peace treaties or what signatures on a piece of paper represent in the West. They don't know anything about Manhattan real estate deals. The only thing they know about is, look, we haven't lost land, and the Jewish people have not come into Gaza and wiped us out as they should have. So we're taking that as victory, and that's going to embolden us to do even greater damage to them down the road. That's why this so-called peace plan is not even worth the paper it's written on.
Well said. Bachman accurately points out that Israel was just 2 weeks away from victory in Gaza when Kushner and Witkoff intervened, pressuring a halt that let Hamas survive. Worse, it let them and their backers believe they'd won. The problem isn't just Hamas, it's Qatar, the central financier of jihadist warfare and the entire ecosystem of regimes that must be held accountable, end quote. That's right. But what do Witkoff and Kushner have in common when it comes to Qatar, Mr. Woods?
Well, as you have showcased the work of Annie Cyrus, there was a hotel deal in the works. We got a free airplane, out of the whole thing.
I think Mr. Witkoff had his real estate saved. I think Mr. Kushner got his 666 building, that's the address in New York, saved. I mean, am I not speaking truth?
Speaking absolute truth, and we got an airplane out of the deal and countless other
and then we're going to give them a base in Idaho.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
If Joe Biden were doing all these things, can you imagine what Sean Hannity and others would be saying?
Well, why is it that I've got to go to your network to learn about this
Because I'm not a stooge.
relationship?
I'm not a stooge for the CIA like most of them are, I think. I mean, Fox News is the CIA network, in my opinion. Wasn't Sean Hannity wearing a CIA lapel pin for years? I think he was.
Well, all I know is when I tune in that network, which is, by the way, getting less and less frequent, on this whole Qatar issue, I call it the Qatari Balancing Act. As long as we're getting all these goodies from Qatar, we've got to keep putting pressure on Israel, like telling them not to annex their own land, which is a inconsistent statement. You can't annex something that's yours. I mean, if I go build a jacuzzi on my back porch, I'm not annexing anything. I'm building on what's mine. So they got to keep pressuring Israel this way and that way, because now we're in this relationship with Qatar. And you're right, Fox News, how much of any of this knowledge comes out on Fox News? I would know none of it if I wasn't a watcher of WVW.
Well, thank you for that. Should we open the phone lines? 1-800-347-9829. 1-800-347-9829. Your thoughts, your comments, your questions. 1-800-347-9829. Again, 1-800-347-9829. Your thoughts, your comments, your questions on any of these things. All right. LifeSite News, Canadian MP, reciting hateful Bible verses about homosexuality in public should be illegal. Yeah. That's up in Canada. Dr. Woods? I mean, already in Canada, you can't put a program over terrestrial radio that has you adding commentary to the chapter Romans 1 on this homosexuality issue. You can be in big trouble. Christian ministries for years have had to redo their broadcasts if they want to air them in Canada. People can go look that up. But apparently now, if you just quote a Bible verse in public, Dr. Woods?
Well, what's interesting is this Canadian guy that made this statement, he started quoting the Bible books that are off limits. He says, I think Leviticus is off limits. I think Deuteronomy is off limits. He names some others. So here we got a guy that's what you like to call, Brannon, a Romans 1 fool. Someone that is dead in his trespasses and sins, obviously totally unregenerated person, sitting in judgment on Christianity and telling Christians what books of the Bible can be taught and which ones can't, because it might be offensive to those of the LGBTQI+++ lifestyle. And by the way, if we acquiesce to this, offensive content from the Bible can't be taught in a church, or it can't be taught over the airwaves, etc. It can't be used in counseling. They call that, by the way, conversion therapy. You can use the Bible in counseling, but not to talk someone out of a alternative lifestyle. If this is our logic, then throw out the gospel, because
Amen.
The gospel is an offense. Paul in Galatians 5 and verse 11 calls the gospel an offense. So if you're worried about offensive conduct, sort of stoking the fires of violence against homosexuals, then get rid of the gospel as well. And that's the road we're going down. And I think that's why these people are pushing so hard for these things. It's their way to design a world without biblical truth in it whatsoever.
Let's go to David, line 1, David in Florida. Hi, David.
Hey, Brannon, good to talk to you guys.
You too.
Hey, I just want to let you reiterate again that Brannon, your ministry as well as Dr. Wood's ministry is such an incredible blessing to me. And I just wanted to reiterate some things that Dr. Woods there has said in a bunch of his teachings, especially when it comes to, whoever will bless you, I will bless, and whoever will curse you, I will curse, how that directly relates to our salvation. And that also Israel, in the millennial kingdom, they will be preeminent in the world. And Jesus will not be ruling from Washington, D.C. He'll be ruling from Jerusalem. And then also the lost doctrine of 10 men grabbing the garments of a Jewish person, Zechariah 8:23. And then also what Dr. Wood says, Jesus alluded to when asked about the end times. The first thing he referred to was false Christs and false teachers. And I'm as hot under the collar as Dr. Woods is there, with these people. I don't know what Bible they're reading, but it's not my Bible.
Amen.
And I just wanted to throw that out there because you guys are such an incredible blessing. Please keep preaching the truth. Thank you to you both.
And you, my friend, are a blessing to us and all you just said, and that you have it in the memory bank of your brain and are eager to put it out there. That's a blessing to us. Absolutely. Thank you, sir. David from Florida. Bill, line 2 from Wisconsin. Hello, Bill.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great, Bill. Thank you for calling.
Hey, Cargill introduced AI into their meat cutting business today. They can detect an ounce of meat off the bone to make it more efficient. But the fact of the matter is, soon we'll be able to drive down the road, hit our cell phones, and find out where the steak came from in the grocery store before you even walk in there, which means in no time they'll be tracing us.
That is a great point, Bill. We're going to go to Samuel, we're going to go to Brad, and we're going to rack up a lot of calls. 1-800-347-9829, 1-800-347-9829. Your thoughts, your comments, your questions, 1-800-347-9829. And there's a lot I did last night at worldviewtube.com, how to talk to young people about Nick Fuentes, a whole segment last night for you.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab. And here, you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
You're watching Worldview Tube, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon Howse.
All right, welcome back. Glad you are with us. LastDaysStudy.com. I hope you'll tweet, text, email, Facebook, Getter, True Social, whatever you got to do. LastDaysStudy.com. And what it is, folks, is every one of the lessons that I've taught as I teach through the book of Revelation, verse by verse, in layman terms, and there's 52 one-hour lessons. We'll see. Maybe this Sunday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, I'll finish. Maybe it'll be lesson 54, or 53, excuse me, will be the last one. I don't know. I don't know yet. So we'll see. Maybe it'll take 54 lessons to finish it, but we're getting very, very close. And it's all there at LastDaysStudy.com, LastDaysStudy.com for free. So tweet it out to your family and friends, text, email, Facebook, whatever you do. Let them know, hey, 52 hours plus, verse by verse in the book of Revelation. I quote Dr. Woods several times through that study, as well as Robert L. Thomas, David Hawking, Jimmy D. Young, John Whitcomb, Dr. Constable, just a lot of great theologians to help us understand what's happening. And then I bring in, of course, current events, things that are unfolding. But we start with the Bible, right? LastDaysStudy.com, brought to you by our foundation, free of charge, brought to you by our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Dr. Woods is andywoodsministries.org, andywoodsministries.org. Let's head back to the phone lines because a lot of folks want to get in today. And the next one is Samuel, line 4. Hi, Samuel.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'd like to comment Dr. Wood's commentary of it seems that we are, for me as a believer in Yeshua, that it's a time that the great deception is being allowed, and you can see that all around us. It's very enlightening. Saddened by it, but it's what's going on.
I think it's a great point you bring up, Samuel. Dr. Woods, real quick comment before we go back to the phone lines. Look how fast this is all unfolded, right? This anti-Semitism has reached a fever pitch in just a matter of a few months, right? We knew it was coming. We and you were part of it, I think. The Holocaust Horizon conference we did in 2018, saying this was coming. But look at how it's reached a fever pitch in that 7 years. I think it shows us how quick the Antichrist can show up, how quick people will follow him, how quick things can become extremely hostile to Christians. And of course, during the tribulation, it'll be hostile no longer to, quote, Christians, as the church is gone, been raptured, I believe, but is hostile to God and his followers. And you can see real quick how the Jews and believers are being slaughtered left and right. Yes?
Yeah, and just to add something, don't forget 2020, where the whole world was put on a global lockdown, just like that. And everybody was marching lockstep with the distancing and the masks. I mean, it wasn't just local. It wasn't just regional. It wasn't just national. It was the whole planet, and it happened lickety-split. Yep. And so that shows you how fast things can materialize.
Let's go to Brad, line 1. Hello, Brad.
Hey, Brannon.
Hey, Brad.
I don't think Steve Bannon is trying to divide up God's land. Actually, I think he knows better. But what I think he might be doing is if we have some kind of a threat of a presence there, or just a presence there, it will deflect any foreign interference from the surrounding nations, from Israel. But we don't even need to do that. All we need to do is be an ally to Israel and sell them the weapons they want, and doggone it, when they want to pound on Islam, get out of their way. Yes. You don't have to defend a grizzly bear in a cage. All you have to do is open the door, and the problem will disappear.
I love it. I love it. And that's why we were pounding the desk over here like you're doing, Brad. It's like, can you let them please finish the job? No, but President Trump called off the dogs and then boasted that he saved the supreme leader in Iran. I saved you, he says. Why would you do that?
I'm not impressed.
No.
I don't care about the supreme leader in Iran. What Islam needs is a good pasting in the face, and let them know what it's like. Then they won't be so high and mighty.
And let the people, the poor Iranians, go, right? So many of them want to be free.
And another thing, I don't like him getting all chummy with Qatar either.
No, of course not.
Listen, why do we have to have an air base in Idaho for Qatar? Let them have their own air base.
That's right.
In their own country, with their own money.
Brad, isn't that
and
like...
their own airplanes.
Isn't that like giving the Nazis an air base in America during World War II?
Yeah.
Right.
Really?
Or Japan bombs Pearl Harbor. We give Japan an air base in Idaho. Qatar is funding terrorism in America. They're funding the brainwashing of our children into Sharia. They're funding Islamic candidates to get elected. And we reward them with an air base. That is as dumb as giving Japan an air base in Idaho after they bombed Pearl Harbor.
They're trying to make it sound like there's different levels and different kinds of Islam, good and bad and radical and not radical. Baloney. Islam is Islam.
It's right.
Got the same devil that they worship, and it's got all the same rules in the Quran and Hadith.
Yep. And if you were going to try to divide the moderates and the extremists, which you can't do, as you aptly say, you certainly wouldn't add Qatar on the moderate side. This is what is so, again, ridiculous. It's as clear as, the nose on our face. Oh.
Yep.
Well, Brad, as always, we love it when you call in. Helps us vent. Lily in Tucson, line 2. Hello, Lily. Hi, Lily.
Hi. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes,
I think Dr. Woods has it right. If you don't get Israel right, you got the whole prophetic thing wrong. And I took time to read the Abraham Accords, and what I saw was basically the setup for a world system, a one world system. It's all about economics, all about religion, and all about politics.
100%. Well said. And Drew from Michigan, line 4. You're the last caller of the day. Hi, Drew.
Brannon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm over here praying right now. I'm an attorney out of Michigan. I'm praying for the words to get this accurately across to you guys. I can't state it enough. In 2019, I was listening to you out of happenstance. I don't even know how I got on your website. You laid out the message of salvation as only you can do. It was the first time I had ever heard it in a way that made sense to me. And I told my wife that night, we're going to go a different direction with our family. My son was 3 years old. We're going to be raising my kid in a different way. And ever since then, it has been, my life has changed. I was led to Andy Woods, and I just finished the 200th sermon on Genesis from Andy
I wish
Woods
you would call back.
today.
Get his number.
Worldview
Take
Radio.
care. Wow, we got to get his number. Why did they not tell me? We would have bumped that one right away. Wow. Dr. Woods, this is the power of the gospel to transform lives and set families on the straight path, regardless of what's going on all around us. Is it not, Dr. Woods?
Well, what you just heard right there is what makes it all worthwhile.
Yes.
All the hours of study, all the sleep, staying up late, getting up early, trying to collect and coalesce all this material, getting it posted. My wife running the camera system, running the audio system, the people at church doing the same thing week after week after week after week after week. Why do we do it? Because of what you just heard. That right there makes the whole thing worth it. Yep. And I just say, praise the Lord.
And Dr. Woods, Drew from Michigan is not the only one. And you know it, and I know it. They're all over the world. And that is the powerful thing about the internet now. We can go everywhere. I don't know for how long, but we're going to go as long as we can.
Amen.
But that testimony can be duplicated over and over. Even people who we don't know, whose voice we've never heard. If Drew had not called in to tell us that, we wouldn't have known that. So thank you, Drew, for that encouragement. But also all the different people out there like Drew that have never written to us, that have never had the chance to call in. And that's their story. That's their testimony. And that's one of the things I'm very excited about when I get to glory, is hearing about how God used our programs and the truth that we present in those programs, and that's what it is, the truth that we present, not us, not the programs, but the truth that we present in those programs, because the word of God has promised not to return void. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of God will stand forever. And to hear the testimonies of people saying the truth being proclaimed by the broadcast hosted by you or Dr. Woods, this is how it impacted my life. And as I study the book of Revelation, I am confident that we have our memory in the New Jerusalem, and that part of what we will be doing among ministering to the nations, the Gentile nations that I think have greatly exploded in growth during the millennial kingdom, will be ministering and overseeing them. But I think we'll also have the chance to not only visit with the characters of the Bible, but we'll be able to visit with one another and share with one another how our life impacted the life of others. And I think that's one of the glorious things that's going to be about getting to heaven, is hearing all the testimonies. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with it. You know, the guy that led me to Christ, I mean, that was 1983. I'm still in touch with him. I love him like very few human beings, even to today, because he gave me something eternal. And the very least I could do with my life is take that same message, the gospel, which is the power of God unto salvation, and give it to somebody else and other people, because I know how valuable it was to me. And so to see the dots connected with this guy calling in is just wonderful, because what did Jesus say? You freely you have received, now freely give. And we get the privilege of being in that position and impacting people for eternity. And so I got my, as they say, dopamine rush for the day listening to that.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Thank you, Drew. Thank you so much. Wow. All right, one final topic here. Israel Katz tells J.D. Vance that over 60% of Hamas tunnels left undestroyed. I thought I read the other day that they were starting to fill up a bunch of the tunnels with concrete, because they had like 250 terrorists under there, so they just decided to fill it up with concrete. I hope that's true.
Well, I mean, when 60%, more than half of the tunnels are intact, and I was in Israel when some youth were kidnapped as the terrorists came through those tunnels. So these tunnels are nothing more than beachheads from Gaza for terrorist activity into Israel proper. And so everybody's celebrating this peace treaty. Trump is saying this is going to bring eternal peace that's been going, solve a war that's been going on for 3,000 years. And then we turn around and find that more than half of these tunnels are intact. Sorry, I don't think so. I think this peace treaty was a Band-Aid, which covers a wound but doesn't heal it.
Well, here's the topic right here. Netanyahu will not allow safe passage for 200 Hamas terrorists trapped in Gaza tunnels. Well, good. Fill it with concrete and be done with them. I mean, that's what you do. You find cockroaches and you exterminate them. That's what you do. Because if you don't, they will kill Jews. And that's exactly what the power of government can do, according to Romans 13. You are involved in capital punishment, you get the sword. In this case, you get a mouth and lungs full of cement. And if they don't go ahead and fill those tunnels up, then they got no one to blame but themselves if those 200 Hamas terrorists go on to kill more Jews. That's right. They don't bear the sword in vain. AndyWoodsMinistries.org. Ours, worldviewtube.com. And again, Drew, thank you so much for calling in.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, guys. Talk to you tonight. Take care.
You're watching Worldview Tube. This is Brannon Howse Live. Whether the issue